everyone, thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. This is one of the 2 videos that'll be first posted. My other one is obviously daily routines and bed routines that'll be filmed with Matt. And this one I've been asked for some more how I'm so confident. That's actually what one of the questions was, and telling a bit about myself. Sorry, this is probably the bad time to be doing a video like this when I'm so blocked up and being sick. But I am still got a smile on my face, so that's, I guess, a good note. So, sorry, I'll have to keep going in and out to go blow my nose, come back, and whatever. So yeah, I've had some people ask me, how am I so confident? Now, there's a long story behind my confidence, and at the same time, it's not fully confidence. I just choose to present myself a certain way. Don't get me wrong, I'm not that confident. I don't walk around as though, do you know what, I'm better than anyone else, or even feel like I'm better than anyone else. But I think I'm happy in myself, and that's how I carry myself off, I guess, what might look confidently. It was a very, very long time for me to get like this. Obviously not as long as some people. Some people go tens of 20, 30 years, whatever. Mine was more, I guess, so I'm 24 now, probably a good maybe 8 to 9 years before I was even remotely feeling like the way I do now about myself. So in order to actually understand how I am at 24-year-old Hannah, we'd have to go to, I think ever since I was about 13, which I guess most kids, most children, whether it's boy or girl, get to the stage where they're like, hold on, I want to look like this, or I want my hair to look like this, or I want me to be looked at a certain way. So I obviously got an ideal image in my head of what I wanted to look like, and unfortunately that's not what I actually look like in everyday life. And I probably, now that I look back, I should have realized, do you know what, I'm looking at a completely different person. I'm not looking at a better version of myself. I'm looking at someone who's complete opposite to myself. So it's not as though I was looking at Hannah Wilson when in the future and things like that, or looking back at myself before I had one child or something like that and going, oh, I want to look like that again. It was me literally looking at someone that had no relations to me whatsoever, not the same body as me, not the same face, nothing, and I was trying to become that, or wanting to become that, which now I look back is ridiculous. Of course I'm not going to look like someone who isn't me. That's just silly. But at the time, I thought that is what I needed to do to be happy, and what it needed to look like to be happy. As I had this goal in mind, I obviously, like most goals, you want to achieve them. So obviously, at the time, I didn't know that that was an unrealistic goal. So I thought, do you know what? I want to look like this girl who, my ideal girl was probably a size 4 or something, skinny, and I thought, do you know what? That's what everyone wants to be. That's what every girl wants to be. That's what every guy wants on their arm. Things like that. And obviously I didn't want to be anything else. I didn't want to be myself. That's what it came down to. I didn't want to be myself. I wanted to be them. And I didn't see, I'm a very competitive sort of person. I didn't see that there was any option but to be like that, and the only way for me to be happy and truly feel good about myself was to be exactly like those people. So, sorry, I'm going to sniff lots, which is going to be annoying. So yeah, I had this idea in my head that I was like, that's going to be me. That's going to be the new Hannah. I'm just not going to stop till I get that, which unfortunately brought on some really bad habits, which I'm not ashamed of. No. Obviously, I don't wish it on anyone else that anyone else was to go through these things. But I think I'm not ashamed of anything I've done in my life. It may not be a great thing that I've done in my life, but I'm not ashamed of it because I've been through it, but I've come out the other side, which also makes me proud of myself, because, some people can go through hard times and just let it get onto them and that's it. But I decided eventually to make a change, and so I guess I'm actually really quite proud of it. So obviously, like I said, the bad habits came in quite full swing. It's not, and most to list the bad habits, I was trying to take 1, dieting pills, 2 was trying to take laxatives, things like that, was barely eating. I would have maybe milk and coffee for the whole day. and I just mix it up and eat like the froth of it. I wouldn't eat really anything, and if I did, I would obviously like throw it up, and that was just the life I chose to live, to want to achieve the body that I wanted. So I'd go to, obviously if I was at home, I'd try not to eat anything, and yeah, just stop myself from actually forcing myself to be sick. Whereas if I was out with friends, obviously I wouldn't want to be the outsider, so I would just eat the food. And then obviously when I was on my own, I'd go home and I'd obviously make myself sick. So I felt like I wasn't getting fatter, I was going to achieve the size that I wanted. And as much as now I look back and it was really, really wrong for myself to be doing that and to be treating myself that way, that at the time was what I wanted to be like. And if I didn't do those things, I felt like I wasn't doing, like I had no control of what I wanted. And at the end of the day, I worked out that it was I was doing that as a way of controlling something. Being sick wasn't, like, obviously I had a lot of stress going on and things like that. So my one thing was, okay, I'm going to try and be this person, and I'm going to control everything around, like in myself and everything around me, to make sure I can be this person. Now, it wasn't obviously achievable, but at the time I felt like, do you know what, I've got control over this, I can do this. And I just, yeah, it was mainly just control, finding control in my life, while I had not a lot of control outside of my whole eating and everything. And so aside from wanting to be a certain size, I also had a lot of issues inside my head and inside my mind. I was really, really quite depressed now that I look back at it. I just genuinely wasn't happy with my own self. And eventually my parents found out that I was so unhappy and got me in to see someone to speak about trying to get my emotions out, and thought I'd be able to speak to someone else. But of course, being in the mindset that I would go see this person and go, I'm going to tell you what I want to tell you, and I'm not going to tell you the actual issues going on, because I don't want you to see me like that. And I think that's one of the things growing up, and the place that I've finally found confidence is, growing up I always was like, what are they going to think of me? What's that person going to think of me? What's my teacher? What's my friends? What's my parents? What's my parents' friends? What's my boyfriends? What's everyone going to think of me? And I think in order to be happy with myself, I needed to realize that not what everyone thinks of me matters. But at the time, I was so wrapped up in, if someone thinks this of me, that's what I am. So if someone, say, took the way I walked a certain way and was like, do you know what, she looks like she's a bitch, then I would automatically think, do you know what, I'm a bitch. They said it, I must be a bitch. And so I'd punish myself because of how other people would see me. And then, don't get me wrong, like, I was actually, well, I hope I was. I've always tried to be a really nice person. But any little thing, like if someone got the wrong view of me, I would hold that over my head and I would punish myself because of how someone else saw me. Whether it was true or not, that's how I was. And so I guess at the time when I was going to see someone and taking medication and things like that, I wasn't trying to help myself. And I'm a strong believer that if you want to be fixed, or if someone wants to fix something or improve something, you've got to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, then honestly, there is no point in trying. Because if the person who's involved doesn't want to try and improve themselves, you're going to be pushing bricks up a hill. Like, it's not, I don't even know if that's a saying, but it's not no point. You've got to get them to the mindset where they're like, do you know what? I'm going to kill this. I'm going to do it. No doubt whatsoever, and the positivity is there, then you've got a chance. And you're probably going to succeed if they're in the complete right mindset. But if they're not, then honestly, it's just not even any point. And at probably like 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-ish, 22 maybe, I honestly was like, nah, I knew at the start, I was kind of like, it was out of my control. As I got a bit older, I knew what I was doing was wrong, but again, didn't think I had the control. And I thought, that's just something that's just me. unfortunately that's just part of my life, and didn't realize that I could actually myself make a change. Yes, I was the one who started it, but I can also, if I started it, I'm the one that can stop it. And that's what I didn't realize. Obviously, like I said, I was doing all these things to punish my body because I wanted to look this certain size. And then I obviously met Matt at 16 and a bit. No, 17. Jesus, I'm so bad. Hopefully, no, he will listen to this, but hopefully he doesn't remember either, and then we'll be sweet. Yeah, so I obviously at the time was wrapped up in all this stuff, and Matt came into my life, obviously made me quite happy. But again, there was the pressure of, hold on, now I've got a boyfriend. How do I have to look for him, sort of thing. And I tried to hide it as long as I could and things like that. But eventually, like, people get that. Like, people understand, like, start to go, oh, hold on, she's taking extra long in the toilet, or she's doing this or that. And like, I obviously was so stressed out in myself, going like, and very I can't think of the word, very cautious, anxious on whether people would like, were like, oh, she looks like she's been sick, or things like that. And obviously when you be sick, obviously your eyes water, you go quite puffy and things like that. So obviously people were seeing it, whether they were saying something about it or not, or just letting it be my sort of thing, then yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it was definitely an issue, and it got to the point where eventually I spoke to Matt about it, and he was so supportive. I thought as soon as he finds out, he's gonna be like, yuck, like, gross, get her away from me. But he actually was not at all. He realized that, do you know what, I was stuck in this cycle that I just couldn't at the time get myself out of, and he wanted to help me. He didn't see me as any less of a person, anything wrong with me. It was just an unfortunate circumstance that I was in, and he knew I could get out of it. I didn't at the time, but he gave me that confidence to know that when I do feel like I can do it, he's going to be right there standing next to me, and he's going to try all he can to help me not punish myself as often and things like that. So it started off with me saying to him, if I eat pasta, bread, things like this, I'm going to want to be sick, or if I eat large substances of things, I'm going to want to be sick. And he would then go to me, are you sure you want to eat this? And I know for other people looking in, like, that looks silly, and why wouldn't he just tell you to stop? But the thing is, like, again, like I said, I didn't want to stop, or I didn't think I could. So if he had come up to me and said, do you know what, you need to stop or I'm leaving you, I would have gone worse into it and felt like I had no one. So he was aiding me to the best he can without pushing me. You can't push people when they're going through things like that, because you might push them the right way, but you also could completely blow it out of the water and make it 10 times worse. Obviously, as we got further into him helping me out, it got better. Like, obviously, if I wasn't eating as much or eating the things that I didn't like, but I would usually indulge in, I wasn't being as sick as often. Obviously, I thought, like, I'd say to him, oh, I'm going well, but again, probably wasn't actually going that well. So it was one of those things of saying, but I want you to know I'm going well. Whether I actually am or not is, like, another story. So yeah, we're going through issues like that, and it didn't really, like, obviously throughout it all, I was like, it's only really affecting me. Little did I know it was actually affecting everyone else around me, seeing me put myself through that. But at the time, I was like, do you know what, it's just affecting me. And it's really, like, really hard for me to say, because obviously I love my children so much. But when I got pregnant, I found it so extremely hard. The fact that I wanted to be this ridiculously skinny person, and then had someone inside me growing bigger than I already was, I found it really, really hard. I would go to the doctors and say to them, like, once I'd get to, obviously throughout it all, I try not to be sick, but I probably, like, I was being sick. I'd get to the end, or nearest to the end, and say to them, please take this baby out. I'm being sick. I'm worried about it because I'm being sick at this food. My baby's not getting anything. And they would reassure me and say, do you know what? Whatever's being taken in your body, your baby is stealing it. If anything, it's depriving you of the food, not the baby. So at the time, see, that's when I started to know that I was doing something wrong. The fact that I was like, hold on, going to other people and grasping for help, whereas beforehand I was pushing everyone away, going, I'll deal with this myself, I'll deal with it myself. But when I had a child, I couldn't do that, because I, as the mother, am responsible for this child, to feed it, to do everything for it. But how I couldn't honestly tell myself that what I was doing was helping the baby. And yeah, it was just a really hard thing for the couple of years that I was pregnant at the start. I obviously wasn't pregnant for a couple of years, but pretty much with my first 3 children, I really did struggle. I went in and out of being sick and things like that, and just was really a mess, like a real emotional mess, because I had this idea of what I wanted and I was going against it by having these children and growing big and small and big and small. And after each pregnancy, I'd just go, okay, I'll just starve myself to get back to the skinny stage that I want. And do you know what? In between the first 2, it did. It worked. I got skinnier, and also, though, I was really, really, really unhappy. I was getting skinny because of everyone else around me, not actually myself. Well, hold on, I was still getting skinny for myself, but I wasn't actually feeling good when I was at that stage. If I was to look back now at photos, I'd go, oh my god, I was so skinny. At the time, I was like, oh, I'm so fat, I want to get a bit skinnier, I want to get skinnier. And I'd be wearing things going, oh, you look disgusting, why are you so fat, why is this bit here fat, why is that bit here fat? And I actually look back and I'm like, there was no fat even on me to even try and lose. So I guess it was about when I got pregnant with Harper, which is our second to last child, that I didn't see, I was gradually trying to get better with my eating, but I was kind of like dodging in and out, like what I felt like for that day, what I didn't feel like, and it just wasn't really completely sticking. Like, it was just bits and pieces here and there, and it just wasn't quite finished. Yeah, I got to the point where I was pregnant with Harper. I was like, I don't know, I guess I was speaking to Matt, and I was like, hit a point. I actually met, that was when we were living in Robinvale. I had my friend Megan, and obviously I told her. I actually wrote up a really, really huge status about what I'd been going through and how had this eating disorder and things like that, because I thought, do you know what? I've had this, my own little secret. I've told the people that I want to, the people that won't push me, things like this, and I've just been like, nah, like, I'll just hold this in my little pocket and I'll just chill with it for a bit. But then I think I was like this, do you know what? Enough is enough. I'm pregnant with my 4th child, and I just can't do this anymore. I just can't allow myself to do this and have my children grow up thinking that's just what mummy does. Like, that's not right. And I am really, like, it makes me really upset that I could even let my kids be surrounded by something like that for a little bit. But at the same time, like, things like this happen. That's the point, is to learn from it. And now I would hope that I would never fall back into that cycle again. So yeah, I was pregnant with Harper, and obviously had met my beautiful friend Megan. She pretty much just was, again with Matt, one of those people that just said, do you know what, why are you doing this? You are an amazing person, please don't. And I guess I was kind of like, I never had like a girl kind of, I don't know, like a girlfriend like that, like a girl who was like, do you know what, just, you don't need to, and talked the girly things with me and all that. And she was just like this, you don't need to do that. And obviously Matt again was like, you don't need to do this. So I just decided, and it sounds crazy as anything because it took me like 5 or 6 years of just, nah, I'm just doing this, to actually just go, do you know what, you're not doing it. And I literally, it didn't, there might have been maybe a couple of days that I kind of went backwards, but literally for 3/4 of the pregnancy with Harper, and from then on, I haven't been sick. Like, I wasn't making myself be sick. I was just like this, do you know what, Hannah, everyone has a child. Everyone's unhappy with their body at some stage. You've just got to suck it up. You've just got to keep going. You've got 3 kids, or 4 children, now 5, that are going to need you. There's things that one day I don't want to get down the track. I actually started to scare myself thinking, do you know what am I going to do when I'm 40 years old and I'm being sick? Like, my body won't deal with that. So I think that was the thing, the future. Like, in the now, I was like, whatever, I'll just be sick and I'll just get back up and I'll be fine. But I thought, shit, like, I've got 5 or 4 kids that I'm going to be able to enjoy everything with. But if I keep doing this, will I be able to enjoy that? And it really scared me, thinking, do you know what? Will I be missing out on things because I'm going to the toilet and being sick, and miss things of my kids and have them going, like, going to school and thinking, like, do you know what? My mum's doing this. Is your mum? Like, things like that. And I just didn't want that sort of thing. That's not the lifestyle I wanted for my kids or even myself and my family. So I hit a point where I was just like this, do you know what? No. And I just said, and I guess, like I said, it was up to me to get to that mindset. And I just hit a point where I was just like this, no, you're not doing it. And I guess that's probably what I do to my kids all the time. No, you're not doing this. So I just decided to take my own medicine, and I did. I stopped doing it, which I'm so proud of. I still struggle. I don't eat really bread ever, or pasta or rice or things like that, but I do eat different things. Like, I eat a lot of healthier things. That's just purely for myself, to keep myself feeling the right way, to keep carrying on and things like this, and to not fall into the trap. Hopefully one day, as I get myself to a stage, I'd love to be able to sit down and have pasta with my kids at tea, but obviously at this stage I don't feel confident in that point, which is fine, because obviously I know I'm just going bit by bit. Like, I know if I go full and just went and ate everything, I would fall completely back into that sort of lifestyle. But I am getting there. Like, I feel like I'm getting there. I'm getting closer to what I want to be, enjoying everything with everyone, going on holidays, eating whatever. One day, that'll be me. One day. Once I'd overcome my eating issues, well, kind of, like I said, I'm not quite there 100% yet, but I am pretty much 3/4 of the way, which is awesome. Because I'd convinced myself that I was more worthy, and my life and my kids were more worthy than that, I got that little bit of confidence that I didn't have before, that even more control than I thought I had when I was doing that. I hit that point where I was like, do you know what? You've made a big decision for yourself, and I've stood up for actually myself, against myself, which kind of sounds weird, but it did. Like, I felt, and I still feel like I beat a shit part of me. Like, I overcame one of the hardest things that I probably will ever have to deal with, and I did it. Like, I've come out the other side, which at one point, or for a few years, I didn't actually think I would ever get close to. I guess from having such beautiful people around me through that shit time, I got another bit of confidence, because I was like, do you know what? These people have seen me at a horrible stage of my life and still want to spend time with me, still love me. I mustn't be that bad. I mustn't, like, how I'm looking, how I'm speaking, how everything's going, I mustn't actually be that bad. And obviously another aspect I said was my mental health. I did go through quite a tough time with it. It's hard for me to say now, because it's sad that I was ever at that point, but there were points that I would say to Matt quite often, I just want you to take me away. Or not even him take me away. I just want to be away from everything. I would say I honestly wanted to be in a hospital. I just wanted to and I wouldn't dare say how I wanted to end up in that hospital, but I just wanted to be taken away from everything, which is, like, really hard for me to say nowadays, because I would never want to be taken away from my kids or my husband or anything that I have now, which is so hard. But obviously I was at that point. I felt like I was quite lonely, and do you know what? Everyone I know there's probably people going through this stage at the moment, and it is hard because there are hard parts of your life. You hit points where you're just like, I honestly do not know if I can do anymore. Like, I don't know if I can keep going with this life. I don't know if I can do these things. But at the end of the day, I was always like, do you know what, Hannah? Your kids love you. Your husband loves you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. And I would just, in my head, and I know it sounds bad because you want to be there because you love yourself, but sometimes that didn't work for me. Being like, oh, no, you've got to do it for yourself, didn't work because a lot of the time I didn't love myself. So I would say to myself, do you know what? How would your family feel if you were to not be here? How would Matt go explaining it to your kids? Like, it makes me feel fucking shit now, but like, they're the things that you don't think about. Like, you don't think, oh shit, do you know what? Your kids would go to do things and, oh, where's your mum? Oh, well, like, things like that. I would tell myself because I'd be like, do you know what, Hannah? No, you've got amazing things in your life. Take a deep breath, go to sleep, wake up the next day, and things will get better. And I'd remind myself that, do you know what? This right now, what's going on, isn't forever. It isn't forever, and things will come around. There'll be shit things. Hell yeah, there'll be shit things. But there will also be those moments that I go, do you know what? This is exactly why I'm here. And the thing, that went on for ages. I'd have days that I'd be like, yep. And then I'd get nights that I'd be like bawling my eyes out for hours. And Matt would be holding me and I'd be shaking and crying because I just wouldn't know. And I think that's why I wanted to be taken away, was because I was just like, I don't know what's wrong with me. How am I meant to deal with something when I don't know? And how was I meant to overcome this when I didn't know? Like, I think it was just a lot of emotions and things like that. And it's taken me a good, like I said, 8 to 9 years of my own, getting my own self into a place where I still have mental days and things like that, but where I'm genuinely happy with myself and my life and things like that, which for me is a huge step. So another thing, sorry, I'm just skipping to bits and pieces because I have to blow my nose like every 2 seconds. But anything I miss or you want more info on, just definitely ask me. But I guess, this year has probably been the time that I've really just taken a deep breath and just gone, do you know what? Fuck it. Actually fuck it. I'm happy and not letting other people get in my head, which, don't get me wrong, I still get pissed off about things where people were like, oh, I think this, or people being rude to other people, or people saying nasty things, or things like that. That still piss me off. Don't get me wrong. They still make me go insane, but I'm happy with myself. I used to look at my body and be like this, ugh, yuck, that looks disgusting, and things like that. But now I look at myself and I'm like, fuck it. You've had 5 kids. Stop looking at someone who's had no kids or had 1 or 2 or whatever. Look at yourself and be like, do you know what? I've had 5 fucking kids. That's wicked. And be grateful. I'm grateful that I've had 5 kids. There is millions of people that can't even have 1 child. So why the hell should I feel like, oh, poor me? There is so many people worse off than me. So I think that's another thing. I've taught myself that, do you know what? Is my life the worst life out there? No. Would I wish that I had? No way. The things, whether I had 5 children or not, the thing is, there are positives in everyone's life. It's just whether you choose to grasp onto them and let it better you, or look at everything else that you could have had and let it destroy you. And I think that's where I've kind of just got an appreciation for what I have. Yes, we don't have millions of dollars, but also I have things that compensate that. That's I guess, sorry, I'm getting really talkative because I'm so kind of there's so much going on in my head all the time, but it's just, I think, just general, I'm just learning to appreciate myself and everything around me. I'm not looking at things and thinking, what should I have, or what could have I had, or what do I need? I'm looking at going, look what I have, look what we've achieved, and just all the positives. Trying to find the positives before I find the negatives. don't get me wrong, I'm still stressed as fuck and anxious as hell with everything, and always going, oh shit, this is gonna happen, thinking the worst before the best. But when it comes to myself and my life and my relationship and things like that, I'm looking at the good. I'm thinking, do you know what, those things are what makes me happy, and if I focus on them, I'm going to be happy. And I guess that's where my confidence comes in, is that I'm learning to appreciate what I already have. I'm not looking towards other things and seeing like negative and seeing what I don't have. I'm taking in everything that I have, and I'm just literally storing it right here, right in front of my eyes, and going every morning, look what I have. And I think if you honestly look what you already have, and that stuff that makes you happy and makes you feel positive, then you're going to start off your day well. You're going to feel better about yourself, things like that. Because you'll go, do you know what? I've got this. Like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like I hear Hugo go, Mum, can I watch the TV? It's like, do you know what? I could go and like, I have to wake up. But I'm like this. Do you know what? I've got 5 kids. Wicked. Then I hear Matt say, like, come and kiss me on the face a gazillion times before I try to get up. And it's so annoying. But I go, I'm not going to see that as annoying and being woken up either. I'm going to say, I've got a husband that loves me. Like, that's wicked. And, like, when I look on my Facebook, I'm like, wicked, there's my friends doing great things. Or that's someone else happy. Like, feed off your own happiness, but also of others. Like, if you see someone happy, feel good about it. Like, soak that in and think, do you know what? Wicked, I've got that going on too. Or if, like, just try and choose to be happy. I think that's my point, is that I'm not allowing the negative or the shit things to even come into my life anymore. Like, yes, they'll come in, but I'll automatically try and either push them out, or I'll go, hey, that thing's better, and remind myself of the great things again. So I think that's my key, is that I'm just thinking happy, thinking positive, and reminding myself when I have shit days, do you know what? The next day is going to be better. Or go have a relax, or go take a deep breath, or things like that, and reminding myself your life is awesome. Your life is awesome, and nothing else is going to tell you any different. Okay, so I'm finished for now because Matt's actually trying to put the kids into bed, and I'm sitting in Isabel's room because the pink was cute. But thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it was a bit full on at different points, but I thought, why not just hit it with a bang, let you all know what I'm actually like, and yeah, hopefully I'll video some more if you like them. And make sure you always chat to me or give me feedback, because I always love it. Love you. What you gonna do?